now you're really crushing it. All right. All right. So we are live on the Instagrams. I've got you live and recorded here. And then I've got my roadcaster going. So I guess the only thing left to say is Merry Christmas, Matthew Wagner from the UK. It is time for the Jason Wright Show Christmas extravaganza. Thank you. Yes.
Just blew up.
We got a live studio audience here today. Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you. So how's it going, brother?
Good. Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas, as I say over here.
Yeah.
Happy, Merry.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad we're having this conversation because so that the audience knows and so that anyone out there on the live that, you know, Matt and I are both not only lovers of film, books, just entertainment, but when it comes to Christmas movies, we have some very strong opinions. And we were just talking before we came on. It's not just about how the quality of the film, right? It's who you saw the movie with the first time. It's who you continue to watch the movie with. The laughs are harder. The tears are bigger when you're in the company of people, because there's more to it than just, is this a great film? You know, so from a critical standpoint. So with that, let's just kick it off. I asked Matt to get his list together. And how do you want to do this? You want to go like 5 to 1? Because you did 5, and then we got a lot of consolation prizes, right? We got some. Yeah. So you just start this however you want. What is the first movie that you want to talk about?
I would say my 5th in my top 5, and maybe you go to your 5th, and then we'll kind of back and forth, right?
Deal.
So I'll start with the why on all these different things first. So the why is I just have really, really great memories of when I'm dating myself, 70s and 80s, when the special came up. Of course, we only had like 4 channels back in the day, right? And the special came up, Christmas special, and it was either Charlie Brown Christmas, which is like a consolation, and a couple others, but the animated Grinch.
I knew that's what you were going.
The original Grinch, because it's essentially reading the book, right? And of course, there's a lot of music in there, and it's my mom's favorite. I mean, that's one of the big things. So sitting down with my mom and obviously my brothers and my dad and kind of watching that. But it was mostly my mom kind of driving that. And it only came on once because, of course, we didn't have streaming and all that jazz. But it was always an event to watch the Grinch. And I think that version is, well, at least to me, because it brings the warm and fuzzies and great memories when I was little, right? But I think it's the best. Jim Carrey's great in his impression of it, but I just think the original animation is fantastic.
I could not agree more. And here's the thing too, that the younger audience members won't realize that was also cool about that. We were getting to watch cartoons at night during the holiday season, whenever, like you mentioned, Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, then the Charlie Brown Christmas, then the claymation, Rudolph, and Santa's Coming to Town, and Frosty the Snowman. We weren't getting to, Saturday morning. Our kids don't even realize that Saturday morning cartoons and cereal commercials and toy commercials were an event that happened every single Saturday. And so I'm so glad that one made your list, because it's one of those for me. It's like, and I like the way you did it, because you took more thought into it than I did on that one in particular, because it's one that it's more about the memory. It's not just a film. It's about you're in your childhood. You're getting to watch cartoons at night in the evening. There was no replay. That was it. You either you sat out at CBS, NBC, whoever broadcast ABC, or you missed it. So well done, sir. Well done.
Well, I think, and also that one scene is a bit of a gut wrencher. And I actually watched it again this morning of, he stole all the things and the Who's come out and they sing around the tree. I mean, that's Christmas, right? And Cindy Lou who doesn't love Cindy Lou Who, right?
Yeah. No, those big animated eyes they freaking get to you. Yeah, no, it is, man. It's a really, really cool story. And just showing, to your point, how Christmas, it just kind of softens everybody's heart just a little bit, and it brings everybody together. And what really matters is that community. So I love that, dude. Well done. Cool. Okay. All right. Is it my turn?
Yeah. Number 5.
Okay, this was very tough for me because, like choosing your favorite Christmas movie is like trying to choose your favorite child. You love them all, but gun to the head, you got to choose who's it going to be. And so, I'm going to say my number five is Four Christmases. Vince
Hmm.
Vaughn, yeah, that one. And here's why. So, besides it just being entertaining, I mean, I'm a diehard Vince Vaughn fan. I
Yeah,
love
me
Vince
too.
Vaughn all the way back to
He's all
Swinger.
grown up. He's all
He-
grown up. He's all
yeah,
grown up.
he's so money baby, and he doesn't even know it. Hey, look, he's like a little bunny. You get scared back. Oh, freaking love Vince Vaughn. And so I love that movie, but also that has become one of mine and Rylan and Abby's annual tradition movies. We're going to watch Four Christmases. We laugh, and here's the thing too: when that film came out, what was so funny about it is Robert Duvall's character, that dad, that is my dad
Oh, really?
personified. Oh, dude, and Orlando or Brad. My name's Brad. Okay, so
Yeah.
when Brad goes home, that was very similar to Jason Wright going home during
Oh,
our
really?
Brad days.
Sulphur Springs.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would go back to Sulphur Springs, and I could relate to that character so well. But Robert Duvall is my dad in that movie, man. And so the girls, they're like, man, that is so Paul. I mean, they get it, and
That's
so
great.
yeah.
He harkens on. I haven't seen that movie in a while. I need to watch it. But he harkens on some of his Lonesome Dove in that one.
Oh, absolutely, he does. Absolutely, he
Yeah,
does.
but with an East Texas
Uh-huh.
twist,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, so and that's one of those because it's not like I had to, whenever you get to my number one, that's where you'll see how I kind of compile this. But that's one of those that the movie's not necessarily all about warm, fuzzy Christmas cheer. It's just a funny movie, and it's relatable because all of us who have weird families, which most all of us do, it's just a
I know what your number one is now, but
yeah,
fine. Yeah.
of course. So that's the one that I put there in the five spot. So with that, what do you got for number four?
Number four, this comes to my kids. So watch this when they were very, little, up until fairly recently. And then I think it's an underrated movie. It totally brings the warm and fuzzies and kind of childhood back even for adults. And then also it has a special place. So gosh, it's been a number of years now when the kids were still in the zone of Christmas, I'll
Yep.
say, without saying anything else. We went to Finland and we flew to Helsinki, and then the next day we took the overnight train up to Lapland, so at the Arctic Circle, and we stayed in the Arctic Circle and we visited, Santa's workshop and everything else. So this one is the Polar Express.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Yeah.
because of those memories and thinking through, and does have a lot of magic in it. And I really like Tom Hanks's character, and there's a lot of other characters voices in it, like the character in Grease, who always got picked on in Grease the movie.
Yeah.
He plays one of the kids as well, and there's a couple others, but I think it's well done, and the animation's a little bit different, and I'm not an animation guy, even though my first two were animation.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I really like the Polar Express.
That's interesting. That one didn't make my list. And you don't know, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. I have never sat down and watched Polar Express from beginning to end. But whenever it is one of those, I will stop because it's beautiful. It was one of the early,
Yeah,
digital animation
yeah,
films of
yeah,
that quality. Tom Hanks's character is amazing, and then Josh Groban did the soundtrack, and so it's just so. I mean, it is a magical movie, and the story is just cool.
yeah,
It's cool. So
yeah.
nice selection. Okay, before I get into my next one, let's just divert into a stinker, one that gets heralded as some kind of Christmas movie that just it might be a Christmas movie, but does not deserve to be in the class with these. What's your just how does this make the list every year from other lists? What's that film for you?
Are we talking Die Hard? Or are we talking
Go for it.
something else?
Go for it.
Um,
Yeah.
well, I think we had that. Die Hard's the third rail of Christmas movie conversations, right? You have to talk about Die Hard. Is it a Christmas movie or not? I mean, to go at least in my criteria of the warm and fuzzies, the spirit of Christmas, great memories. It does have great memories from watching it, I guess in 1988 or so, 89, somewhere in there. Because I remember when I saw it in the theater, but it's not a Christmas movie. I mean, it's set around Christmas, but it doesn't have, I mean, what
No.
Christmas movie has an F-bomb in it, you
Yeah.
know?
No, that I didn't even realize this is how just kind of off the radar it was for me. It was probably a decade ago that it made like I don't know, over here they had it used to be ABC Family, now it's Freeform. They do the 25 Days of Christmas. It was one of those deals like it wasn't Freeform. It was one of those channels that plays a Christmas movie every day
Mm,
leading up to Christmas for the 25 Days of Christmas. And Die Hard made the list, and I was like, "What? I didn't even
yeah.
know that that was a thing." And then I got into the realizing that there's other people like us that debate this issue that no, great movie. I remember when it came out, dude, but it never occurred to me just because a movie takes place around Christmas time that makes it there is nothing about Christmas in Die
Well,
Hard.
it's funny. I used to work for a company based in Chicago. I'll go there all the time. And one time, the office was very productive this afternoon. So I flew there, went to the office, and on this whiteboard, there was probably like 5, 6 people around this whiteboard. And I was curious what they're doing. And I said, "What are you doing?" They were listing the top Christmas movies, and Die Hard was on the list. So that ensued another hour-long debate of unproductive work. But yeah, they I was outvoted. So they were totally pro Die Hard.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But then I didn't really answer your question. So I think you have to talk about Die Hard in this conversation. Total stinker. I don't really love the total cheesy ones that really
Mhm,
try a bit too hard.
mhm.
But and some of those are overacted from older movies. So like The Miracle on 34th Street's
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
little bit dated, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Uh, but White Christmas is not a great movie, I don't
Yeah.
think. But to me, actually, it's a consolation because obviously the song, well, they made the song first,
Yeah,
and
Holiday Inn.
then, yeah,
Didn't it show up in
okay,
Holiday Inn at first? Yeah, and then they
exactly.
made
And
the
then
movie.
they made the movie, which is bizarre. But I do have good memories of it because I would watch White Christmas with my grandmother,
Yeah.
and she loved that movie. So it does take a consolation prize because of that. But the movie itself is not great, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, yeah, the set makes first of all, and what's weird about that is it just shows how Hollywood was back then. So Holiday Inn, that's the one with is Danny Kaye's White Christmas and Fred
Yeah,
Astaire is Holiday Inn. Almost
I
identical plots, kind of. The
yeah,
lodge looks almost exactly the same. The one of them, the general that I guess Danny Kaye and Bing Crosby served under in the war, he's the one that retires and goes and buys the lodge, and it's just a complete disaster. It wasn't anything. Then the next one, it's Bing Crosby who's getting out of showbiz, getting out to the. I mean, they're so close, and it's like it's almost like they went, oh crap, that song was so much better than this whole movie. We should have done a whole movie. Well, what the hell? Let's do it.
yeah, yeah.
You guys gay.
It's it's like filler content almost. Let's trick the audience. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm the same way about that one. That one is see that's I'm glad we did a consolation in this because it's the same for me. White Christmas and Holiday Inn are two of mine and Abby, my youngest's favorite movies, not because it is a great movie, but that's just one that we went to see. The Liberty Theater here in Tyler is an old movie theater that they refurbished, and they show White Christmas every year. And
Mm,
so one year, I don't remember why Rylan didn't go with us, but Abby and we went on a daddy-daughter date around Christmas, and we went to see White Christmas at the Liberty Theater. And from then on, and it's not one of those that we make a point to sit down and watch beginning to end every year, but we're going to have it on while we're cooking a dinner or a meal
yeah,
or
yeah.
something while she's in town because it's just again, it has a special memory to it that you watch it for, as opposed to just, oh wow, hey everybody quiet, you don't want to miss this line, it's great.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
a big deal. So good one, good mention, good mention. Okay,
Yeah. So where are we? Oh, it's your 4, right?
yeah, okay, so I've got I've got 4 Christmases now. My number 4. Now this is where it gets really really tough for me, because the top 3,
I can mix them around.
yeah, the top 3 I nailed down, and I think I've got those right. But here's my, if I have to say a movie that is funny, so it's entertaining, it is Eat Up with Christmas, and it just makes me feel good whenever I watch it. Elf. I gotta go Elf.
He's an angry elf.
He's an angry. That is Will Ferrell at his best, dude. I mean that
Perfect.
he just nailed it. And there's so much backstory to that. And talking about Swingers, John Favreau
Yeah,
directed
yeah.
Elf, and it's
And
yeah,
they also use the stop start animation, or not animation, claymation
yep,
from some of the older movies, like yeah, like I guess the Rudolph and things like that, right?
absolutely, they did. And let's see, I've got that one here. I told you that I made you some trailers. So as we get closer to
Nice.
the top, let's go ahead and get a little bit of this going, hopefully.
And James Caan in that movie is great.
Hi.
Oh,
Your costume is pretty.
Oh, it's not a costume. I'm an elf.
Oh,
Well, technically I'm a human, but I was raised by elves.
New Line Cinema presents the story of one
The
elf
concept of it is
home
just
for Christmas.
oh, it nearly didn't get made. These guys, they
Yeah.
did not want to make this movie.
Go ice skating and eat sugar plums.
and that wasn't scripted.
Sorry.
Now,
I think someone sent you a Christmas gram.
Dad!
We should call security.
Good idea.
I like to whisper.
Buddy's experiencing a world he never knew existed,
But he's your son. What am I gonna do? He's certifiably insane.
discovering what it takes to fit in, and going where no elf has gone
My
before.
daughter did that on an escalator one time. Got stuck.
Michael.
And this is, come on.
How
this-
long do you think you'll be with us?
I was thinking like forever.
Cannot stay here.
We can't just.
And the best part of that scene is you go, did you hear that?
Oh, son of a nutcracker.
We can take them.
I also love New York and all the New York scenes in this
Where did you say
film.
you were
I
from?
just,
holiday
that's another reason
season.
why I think I like it so much.
Well, New York at Christmas, right?
Swells
Ugh.
up when I am around you.
Get ready
To plan out our whole day. I thought maybe we could make gingerbread houses and maybe even hold hands.
for a tall tale
how are we gonna get the star on top?
of elfish proportions.
I got it.
Will Ferrell,
Okay, people, Santa's coming to town.
Oh my God. I know him. I know him.
Elf,
He's great too. I don't know that actor's name,
Oh,
but
he's
he's
terrific.
fantastic.
Close. I didn't know you had elves here.
You're hilarious, my friend.
Did you have to borrow a reindeer to get down here?
Hey, you're feeling strong, my friend. Call me Elf.
One more time.
He's an angry elf. You. Ow.
Oh wow.
Elf, what's your favorite color? Put that down.
Oh, God.
I mean, and James Caan, gosh, he's so great because it's like Sonny Corleone,
Exactly.
playing
In a freaking Christmas
opposite,
movie.
well, opposite Will Ferrell's ridiculousness, right?
It's so gold,
It's
man.
perfect casting, really.
Yeah. And then, all right, so so just like, let me get back. Oh, there we go. Now we're back in gallery. All right. So, and the cool thing is that movie, they didn't want to make it. Everybody said this is just insane. And I tell you what, Matt Wagner, but for Will Ferrell, that movie would not be what it is today. I mean, it's in all the memes. There are Instagram little GIFs or GIF, however you say it. All
Well,
that
hot tot interns.
Hot Tot intern, baby. That is, I mean, he is the muse for the greatest intern in all of East Texas right here. So let's see. Hey, we've got some Instagrammers checking us out live. Jim Barry, any of you guys, if you have a favorite Christmas movie, and okay, Jim Barry, it's funny that one of my Peloton friends, she had mentioned earlier Elf by a mile. So there you go, Jen. There's your favorite movie. Eric Payton, I see you. I would love to know what your favorite Christmas movie is. So that was, what was that? My number 4. And now we're getting into the serious stuff. I might cry going into the top 3, but
Yeah.
go for it, man.
Well, so Elf is number 3 for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Definitely number 3. I debated about the order of things, really 3, 4, 5. But yeah, all those different reasons we just talked about. Will Ferrell is perfect. And James Caan, I've obviously brought him up 3, 4 times, but I think he's fantastic in that. And it has all the warm fuzzies, but it obviously has a humorous twist to it.
Yeah.
That you just can't really beat.
Yeah.
But I also think it's a generational thing. So we, you can watch it when the kids are young, and then now we just watched it last week too.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that one of those? I mean, do you do this like during the Christmas season? Elf is one of those. I can watch it 4 different times. I'm not going to sit down and clear the decks. I'm into this, but it can be on 4 different times throughout the holiday season, and I'm going to watch at least a portion, and it doesn't bug me at all.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely on rotation.
All
so then we're at your 3.
Yeah.
I think we're probably very similar to a lot of these coming up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here, I'm going to do my screen share again because we're going to have to play a trailer. And I'll just go ahead and I'm going to kick it off with the trailer. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. And this one, again, it's not so much for the movie itself. And this is one of those that people that don't know, it's like kind of like, if you know, the people that don't know think you're insane when you bring this up as a great Christmas movie. But folks.
After vacationing across America and throughout Europe,
Take it, Russ.
this holiday season, the Griswolds are going to play it safe.
Clark, we're stuck under a truck.
That scene
At home.
gets me every time.
The Griswold family Christmas tree.
Jay Griswold.
You're not getting sap all over your sweater, Clark.
All Clark wants is a quiet, old-fashioned Christmas. Sorry.
He's great too. Barbara Bloom.
I miss Chevy Chase back in the old Chevy Chase days. That dude was
What he's going
amazing.
to get
Yeah.
is the gift that keeps on living.
Merry Christmas.
His family.
We didn't come to impose.
Oh, hell, there's plenty of room.
Do you sleep with your brother? Do you know how sick and twisted that is, Mom? Well, I'm sleeping with your father.
Check that out. I've got my little cousin Eddie
You
figurine.
better take a rain check on that, Art. He's got lip fun.
Maybe one of the best secondary characters ever created in
No
a
holiday
comedy.
could ever be more deeply touching.
Oh, everyone can relate to that attic thing too. There's your outfit right there.
The carpet.
Yes,
I wouldn't
baby.
be more surprised than I am right now.
We're really gonna fly down the hill with this stuff.
So genuinely moving.
Can I refill your eggnog for you? Right out to the middle of nowhere.
Leave you for dead.
More truly uplifting.
Can I show you something?
I was just browsing.
Can't remember her name, but she was actually in the Love in an Elevator video, Aerosmith.
Santa is smart. He'll stay well clear of this joint. It's a death trap.
That Christmas with the Griswolds.
Everybody come out quick, look at the lights.
They want you to say grace.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
My daughter Rylan can do a spot on impersonation of Aunt Edna. It's
Let Chevy
uncanny.
Chase light up your holidays. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That thing had 9 lives. She just spent them all.
You woo, crack up.
Oh God. I mean,
Everyone has a cousin Eddie.
everyone, and I think I might kind of be that now. My family. I went from being the Brad or the Orlando when I was in college. I think I'm now the cousin Eddie.
That's all right.
Yeah,
You didn't jump the shark. You're in your sweet spot because you don't care, right?
Absolutely, baby. Absolutely. All right. So I want to tell you why that movie is so important to me, besides the fact that I just find it hilarious. That is a movie that when the girls were really young and we were still living in Houston, we would, Santa would come and we would load up our family truckster and we would head to East Texas to Sulphur Springs. And we had one of the little drop down DVD players and we would throw on Christmas Vacation. When we got there, Matt Wagner, Frank Wright would be playing Christmas Vacation in the game room. And I mean, it always, that movie is one of those really connecting films with my dad. Whenever we watch that, there's no one else on earth. I mean, I will laugh every time I watch the movie, but you put me in a room with Frank Wright watching that movie, I'm going to laugh infinitely harder. And the scene where Snots has been nosing around in the trash, and all of a sudden they're just having dinner. All of a sudden you get that, you know, the table kind of rattles.
Yeah.
Sends my dad and I over every time. So to what we were saying earlier, it's not just the fact that it's a great movie, you know, it's just a funny movie. I have memories. I will always have memories of driving to Sulphur Springs and then watching and it's cool too, because my dad has macular degeneration, so he cannot see anymore. He has no central vision. All he has peripheral. So the movies that stand out the most to him are those that he could see back before his eyes were completely gone. And that's one of them that we watched, we laughed. And so he has he can recall it in his mind. And so you don't have to sit there and tell him, you know, hey, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's just cool. So Christmas Vacation,
I also think you don't have to watch the first two Vacations or know to watch that.
No, they all stand completely independent of one another. And which, you know, that's one of the knocks that have been on the Vacations is that the children are always different. About the only thing consistent is Cousin Eddie and Clark and Ellen. But that made it. It wouldn't have been as good, but for that ensemble. So that's my number 3. What about
I agree. Chevy Chase back then was in his sweet spot with Fletch. I mean, Fletch was, I've watched Fletch probably 40 times, 50 times easy.
That's a Frank and Jason movie too. Frank Wright will crush some Fletch, and some Fletch Lives as well. Another, how that became such a great sequel. At least we loved it. I mean, the original Fletch, that's number 1, but I thought Fletch Lives was pretty funny too.
Fletch Lives is good too. Yeah.
There's some great characters. Peter Lemongello, the preacher, and I mean, just those films, especially Fletch, because Chevy Chase had so many different characters he was, you know, jumping into, but his smart ass sarcasm.
Well, what kind of name is Poon anyway? Comanche Indian.
Comanche Indian. That's right. That's right. Oh, you have to excuse my Billy Costa. I just had a hernia operation. I've been spitting up blood, pissing blood, bleeding. So great.
Fantastic. I gotta watch Christmas Vacation again.
Okay. All right. So where are we? Is it number?
What do you want to do? Consolation before we get to 2 and
Let's
1
do
and
it.
2?
Let's do it.
All right. I have a few. I named a few already. White Christmas, Charlie Brown Christmas, Family Stone.
Oh, see, that
is up there. I just rewatched that with my parents a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
It's a great ensemble cast, and of course, I mean, you kind of know what's happening, but it hits you at the end. You know?
Dude, you crushed. I'm so glad you brought that one up as a consolation, because it didn't make my list, but that is a movie that the girls and I, it has over the last probably 3 years become a movie that we're going to watch every single year. It's one of the ones that we're like, okay, is it time? Because that's what
it's a beginning one. It's an early season one.
Exactly. It's one of our kickoff movies. And you're right. I mean, Luke Wilson's character, fantastic. Sarah Jessica Parker, she nails
nailed it.
Role. It's so freaking good. And again, it's one of those that, I don't know, maybe it's just because I think that if my daughters were having this conversation you and I are having in 10 years, that one will probably be in their list because for the same reasons that Christmas Vacation is in my list. At least that's what I hope for them. So, okay.
It's a good flick. Christmas Vacation's on there as well. Definitely. It almost bumped out the Grinch or Polar Express. So it was close. Home Alone is another one. I didn't actually watch it back in the day, and I never saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
Because I think it came out in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So we were in college. So who's going to watch Home Alone, right?
Good point.
But I, watching with actually my kids for the first time. So we again, same kind of deal of watching that when they were little, and then obviously even today. So it holds up. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And it's funny you said that about the theater, because when I was watching it earlier this week, I was trying to remember if I ever saw it at the theater. I don't know that I did. But not a Christmas season is going to go by that I don't watch Home Alone. And another one that is surprising that it's kind of up there with The Godfather, which is better, 2 or 1. They're both pretty stellar. I think Home Alone 2 is pretty freaking good. And as a matter of fact, this is a random scene in a movie that my youngest daughter, Abby, and I, we laugh our asses off every single time it happens. I don't know if you remember in Home Alone 2 where the tool chest goes rolling down the stairs. I don't know if that was purposely done to make it where it's the tool chest looks like it's alive. Tools are flying everywhere, and it just it keeps cutting back and forth. And she and I just laugh because like the thing, it's just so violent and aggressive. It looks like the tool chest has come alive. So yeah, I put Home Alone and Home Alone 2 as 2 of my definite top consolation prize winners because those are just absolute Christmas classics. So, okay. All right. So do you want to go for another stinker?
I don't have one necessarily. Go ahead. Why don't you go?
Okay. I've got one that may or may not be a stinker. I've never sat down and watched it from beginning to end, but surprisingly, I just can't seem to make myself watch this. And that is Fred Claus, which has 2 of my very favorite actors. Okay. So Paul Giamatti is kind of like, I could listen to Paul Giamatti read the phone book and be entertained because he's just so freaking good. Starting with, I guess, Sideways is where I
Sideways. Oh God, Sideways.
So good, so good. And then, and it's got Vince Vaughn. So it's like that's just a recipe for Christmas awesomeness right there. But again, I'm not saying it's a stinker. I probably have never given it a chance, but what I've seen, I'm like, man, I can't believe that one's not. It wasn't better. So anyway, that's one. Not something that the masses are out there debating whether it should be in a top list or not, but it's kind of mine that I'm just surprised I don't like it more than I do.
Well, Vince Vaughn jumped the shark for a little bit,
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, while we're talking Vince Vaughn, a film that I don't think he got enough credit for that few people probably have even watched. Did you ever watch Clay Pigeons?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so he's played a psychopath a couple of times. One was, I think it's with John Travolta, where he plays either a boyfriend or a stepfather, where he's the bad guy. And then in Clay Pigeons, he is kind of like this total psychopath. Probably, I bet we were in college. I bet it was probably mid to late 90s. And random movie. It probably was an independent film. I don't remember, but check that out. It's Vince Vaughn. Well, I guess, and he also played Psycho, didn't he? I forgot he was in Psycho. That's another kind of crazy non-Vince Vaughn role. But anyway, Clay Pigeons. So, all right.
I'll check it out. Just write it down.
Okay. Back.
All right. I think consolation as well. People love it.
Tell me.
I don't know if it's a Christmas movie.
Tell me.
Love Actually.
I knew that's where you're going. Okay. So let me just, I'm going to get you in the Christmas spirit. Matt Wagner, you.
I mean, it does nail London during Christmas.
Okay, since you've actually seen that and I have not, that it does, because I wouldn't know that.
It does a good job at it. Yeah, it has like the nativity. They go to the crazy nativity that is non-denominational because it's a public school at the end, and little nuances like that. And obviously it brings in the London feel, but is it a Christmas movie? I don't know.
Come on, man.
I mean, throughout the years,
wait, what the heck?
Untitled Films and writer Richard Curtis.
Oh no.
4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Come on. There we go.
20 years ago, you'd have been just his type.
I love Hugh Grant too. I love Hugh Grant.
I do too. I think he's underrated.
Yeah.
When desires are revealed.
I'm in love.
Is it young to be in love?
No.
Oh, okay.
Secrets are exposed.
Your secretary is very pretty.
Alan Rickman, man, talking about Die Hard. I miss that guy.
And chances are finally taken.
That scene, where the best friend goes to his buddy's house to profess his love. That was just weird.
Oh, and then that actor, he's great too.
Pictures invite you.
What's the best sex you've ever had?
Britney Spears. No, I'm only kidding.
I love Billy Nye. Is that his name?
Take everything you know about love.
You have this kind of problem?
course you did, you saucy minx.
And multiply it by 8.
I don't know why this trailer's playing non-Love Actually music.
Okay, that's done.
Hugh Grant, Liam Neeson, Colin Firth, Laura Linney, Emma Thompson, Alan Rickman, Rowan.
Okay, they didn't even play the best part of it.
I mean, amazing ensemble cast, obviously, but it doesn't give the warm and it doesn't give the fuzzies. You know, I don't know.
Man, I'm telling you,
And like you said on another podcast, it's British porn for Americans.
Well, that's exactly, and that's
Notting Hill is in there too. You know.
Yeah. Well, and Four Weddings and a Funeral. I love those.
Well, I like Four Weddings. I like Notting Hill too.
Yeah, Notting Hill is great. Although I got so pissed off at Julia Roberts in that movie. I thought Hugh Grant should have been like, get that. You're kidding me. Alec Baldwin did a cameo and played Alec Baldwin really well in that movie.
Yeah, well, he does a good job at that.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway,
so
Love Actually. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so Love Actually is our kickoff movie. I watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles around Thanksgiving. That's my one Thanksgiving movie that's my teaser into the holiday season. And then Love Actually, and then The Family Stone. Those are the two. Okay, it's Christmas season. Rylan and Abby and I, we're in the zone, and we kick it off with Love Actually every year. That is and that started probably only about 5-6 years ago, but man,
so that's in and around Thanksgiving. So you do Planes, Trains, Automobiles, because that they're going home for Thanksgiving, right?
Exactly. That's how I justify that one. I can't think of any other good Thanksgiving movies.
No, I'm blanking completely.
Yeah. So that
but then okay, different question in and around Christmas. Do you decorate before or after Thanksgiving?
Nope, after Thanksgiving. What about you?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a week after.
Yeah.
You know,
I will.
But definitely separating the two.
Have to, man. I mean, I see these people, and people started putting their lights. This year it seemed more aggressive than ever. They wouldn't turn them on, but people had their Christmas lights on their houses a good month early, and I was like,
I mean, like November 1st, you're saying? Early?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Now they weren't lighting them up.
I mean,
they were just trying to get ahead of the game. I get that, but it started. I think people were just desperate for it.
Well, with COVID, I mean, you kind of give everyone a pass. I used to give people a hard time, and it's not over here. Definitely not over here. Of course, we have Thanksgiving, but there's not Thanksgiving here. So it's usually December 1st or really end of November. But I used to give people a hard time in the States, and now I just don't, because we all get a pass after the last 2 years, you know?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Do what you want. You can have Valentine's now too. I don't care.
Right. Gosh. Oh man. Jimmelin has this grand idea that if we miss getting our cards out in time, that it's okay. We'll send a Valentine's card. I'm like, first of all, you can ask Rylan and Abby. I'm the most anti-Valentine's. That is the most just made up out of thin air to sell crap holiday that there is. And besides that, it's like, no, we're not going to send a Valentine's card. All right. So folks, I see that we've got some more people on the live. If you have an Eric Payton, I've got you. Don't worry, dude. You can't get through a list without that one, brother. If you want to discuss and disagree with any of the commentary that Matt and I are having about these movies, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Change my mind. Or if there's a movie that you want mentioned that you would like us to discuss, we've probably seen them all ad nauseum, and we can probably bring some pretty good commentary to it to see if maybe you need to seek help with some of your Christmas movie choices, or maybe we can confirm that you have your head on perfectly straight. Either way, join in the conversation. Okay, so we're number 2 already on the real list.
We're on number 2, and I think we probably have similar, if not the same. Maybe the order might be flip-flop. On mine, it's A Christmas Story.
Oh, so great. I'm with you.
And I think it's for different reasons. Your number 2 is the same?
Yes, sir.
It's A Christmas Story? Okay. So this came out, in 82, I want to say, maybe 81, somewhere in there. So this was, maybe the thought of Christmas, well, your listeners aren't going to be necessarily below a certain age. So obviously before believing and after believing. So this is probably after, right?
Right.
But it hit the sweet spot because you're still in that late elementary, at least I was late elementary. You were somewhere in that, you're a little bit younger. And it hit because I was the same age, give or take, you know?
Yeah.
And I grew up in New Jersey, and like a lot of my guys were just like those characters, very, very similar. And it just struck a nerve. I mean, obviously this was what, in the 40s or something, where it was set, or the 30s. But I think it just hit a nerve in where I was in my age. And then it resonates, I think, for, you know, it continues to hold legs, you know, because my kids watch it, you know, we watch it as well. So it definitely resonates. And I just think the journey of it, and, you know, it's such a journey story. And he's getting knocked down, and, you know, he has comebacks and he gets back up, and, you know, he eats, you know, he has soap, which I'm sure no kid these days has ever tasted any soap, but I certainly remember that a bit. You know, yeah, it's just fantastic end to end, you know.
I could not agree more. And for all the same reasons, it does just, and the thing is, one of the best things that they ever started over here in the States, it's either TBS or TNT. They do 24 hours of A Christmas Story. And I wonder if that is kind of what made it such a tradition over here.
And the Christmas Story is not, it's not that big over here.
The true meaning of Christmas.
Well, it is so Americana. I think that might be why.
Yeah, it is.
The spirit of the original.
Oh, it's a blue ball.
Tradition.
Not a finger.
American Christmas.
The bumpuses.
MGM.
Fragile.
A Christmas Story.
And the thing is, when I was a kid, I did not appreciate this movie as much as I do as an adult. No, I liked it, but now it's like,
yeah, it's like little, like, okay, Ralphie's great, and then our the decoder ring with drink more Ovaltine, and then, you know, the kid's smarter, like a cruddy commercial, you know.
Yeah, he goes, son of a bitch.
Fragile. It must be Italian.
I think it says fragile.
It's a prestigious award.
I think that says fragile.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got the Life Boy soap, Buoy soap, or whatever it's called.
A Christmas Story. Come on. The movie.
The electric sex in the window.
Yeah. Oh, the narrator. Is it Randy Quaid? No, who's?
No, it's actually it's the author of the book, I think.
Of the original.
Is it?
Yeah, I think I looked that up.
100% two-fisted, red-blooded.
I have this movie poster up here in my office. I used to have all these my favorite movie posters, and this was one of them. Oh, and then here it is.
I don't think you can do that scene today.
No, I don't think you would get away with that today. But man, it was a classic.
Gene Shepard was the narrator.
Okay, am I wrong about that? I thought he.
I'm not sure if he was the writer.
Okay. Because it's based on a book called.
The author and narrator. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, and by the way, so that is the second Peter Billingsley film we have mentioned today. You realize that, right? Oh, see, I like this. My daughter brought this to my attention. 4 Christmases.
Oh,
at the ticket counter at the airport.
Right.
That's Peter Billingsley. Ralphie.
He's also in The Family Stone, I think.
Family Stone. Let me think.
My mom just brought this up, and I checked it.
He's in it.
We're watching.
No, he's in The Breakup. He's one of the friends that is on the bowling team with Gary and has to actually take Gary's shirt back. He and Vince Vaughn, it turns out, are best friends. Peter Billingsley, which to me, that's probably the reason why I think Vince Vaughn is so freaking cool, is if he's best friends with Ralphie.
Dude, Vince Vaughn is not even a Christmas Story, and you have the biggest man crush bringing Vince Vaughn up like 25 times in here.
I know. I probably do have a bit of a man crush on Vince Vaughn. It's so money, baby. But right here, look, this, like I showed you earlier.
The beautiful ones don't work, at 6 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, you got to be selective whenever you go to the certain night.
I need to double check. I was just trying to check if he's in the Family Stone. I can't pull it up that quick, but
well, he is that to me. Okay, so now the tradition, and it's two things that are kind of funny about A Christmas Story at the Wright household. So when the girls were younger, their grandfather used to come stay with us every Christmas, and he's kind of
your dad.
This was Carrie's dad, and he was kind of he's just an interesting character. He's socially
avant-garde,
a bit of a savant of sorts, I suppose. So here's what he would do. He would always notice that the movie had come on again without thinking we had noticed the movie had come on again during that 24 hours.
The Christmas Story loop.
Yep. So Christmas Eve, it starts at like 7 o'clock, and it'll be on at different times. And then on Christmas morning, we just leave it on in the back. It's the background noise when the girls are going through their Santa stuff is A Christmas Story. And so every single year he would say the same thing. Oh, Ralphie again. Wow. Didn't we just see that? Yeah. For about the last 6 years, actually, you've seen that in this house over and over and over. So
and I need to pull up a picture because my son, when he was little, looked just like Peter Billingsley. So then for one Halloween, we dressed him up. We meaning Molly, my wife, she's more creative than I am. Got the pink bunny suit. And then that was his Halloween costume. I think it was probably 2 or 3. And then we brought him to Santa. So, it's a little bit we brought him to Santa. He's wearing the pink bunny outfit.
And you guys nailed it. It was so awesome. I remember that, which again, before we got on, we were talking about that. I could not believe it was 12 years ago, though. I mean, I'm
13. I think that was 08.
Oh, that's insane, dude. That is insane. Yeah. Well, so, and for those out there who have never seen A Christmas Story, whoever you are, bless your heart. It is, again, that one, if I just watched it by myself, it is one of those that it's really special to me. As a matter of fact, so last year or the year before, I didn't really get to watch it at the level I wanted to, like seriously sit down, because it is on so much that it kind of gets diluted. So I put it on my Concept 2 rower. I put my phone in the deal, and for the next 3 mornings when I go out to row, I would be by myself rowing and watching A Christmas Story. So I'd say, okay, I paid attention. I consumed it. I have another consolation one that I almost forgot that I wanted to.
I have a few.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So Scrooged. What's your take?
Well, anything Bill Murray, that would be on there too. I mean, I've become really appreciate Bill Murray more and more. Same. Now that you kind of realize like the Bill Murray stories and all these zany stories, and you just appreciate because he doesn't, he's been in that sweet spot of not caring what people think forever.
Yeah.
And then obviously you can kind of see that a little bit in some of his movies. That comes up as well. And Scrooge is one of them because he doesn't even seem like he's acting in some movies, and this is one of them. He's just kind of hanging out.
Psychos at his workshop, and only Lee Majors can stop them. In the night the reindeer died. Be here.
There he is.
Commercial? That thing looked like the Manson family Christmas special.
Bobcat Goldthwait. Yes. Gosh.
And all the Murray brothers are in this.
Cross is more.
Did you realize that?
Really?
So Brian Doyle Murray, who was Mr. Shirley in Christmas Vacation, he actually plays his dad when he goes to his Christmas past. Then his other brother, I can't remember what his name is, actually hangs that one. There's the one that you see quite a bit. And then his other brother that was in Mad Men is also, all the Murray brothers are in this movie.
We tried Crazy Glue. Have you tried? Oh, yeah, the Murray brother in Mad Men. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
That was a good one.
are going to be visited by 3 ghosts tomorrow at noon.
Tomorrow's bad for me, Lou. As a matter of fact, the whole rest of the week is a washout.
Anyone who thinks he hates Christmas is wrong.
Oh, and what's that guy's name? Buster Poindexter.
Saying hot, hot, hot.
It's ghosts he hates.
I love that bit!
The Woman in Taxi.
Exactly. He goes, oh, that bitch hit me with a toaster.
Bill Murray.
He's also in The Princess Bride.
It sounded like you'd seen a ghost.
The ghost, John Forsythe. Bobcat Goldthwait.
Hey! You glad to see me, or is this a shotgun in your pocket? You know this one?
Everybody knows this one. Let's go now.
Now does everybody know this one?
Carol Kane.
Carol Kane.
I really care.
David Johansen.
Oh, I'm having the weirdest day.
See Bill Murray get Scrooged.
Hey, back off, big man. That may work with the chicks, but not with me.
He's so good. My favorite, what's your favorite Bill Murray story? I'll tell you mine. It's so good.
When you
Just a second. Oh, sorry, folks. Let me set up. Tell me.
So, so the director, I forget what he did with him, but he did something with Bill Murray. Maybe it was Lost in Translation or something. He's really, really good buddies with. That director, and I can't remember the guy's name, but that director's wife was the love in Patrick Swayze's classic Roadhouse.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't remember her name. If I don't remember her name, but all the Murray brothers, if they see Roadhouse on, they call him whatever time it is and saying, I can see Patrick Swayze making sweet love to your wife right now. Which totally just makes me laugh. So, I mean, whatever, 3 a.m, whatever time it is, they call him or leave a message, that Patrick Swayze, is making love to his wife. It's so good.
That's pretty awesome. So my favorite Bill Murray story, and there are aplenty, of course, he's legendary now for just showing up to people's weddings, dinner, and go, they'll never believe you.
Did you see the Netflix?
Yep.
Did you see that? Yeah.
I did. So you suggested it to me, and it is fantastic. What's it called? What is it called? Searching for Bill Murray or something like that.
I'll pull it up. But go ahead.
Pull it up to tell the audience because they should actually check it out. But my favorite, but just because it happened in Texas, Bill Murray saw that there was a house party going on in Austin. Rolls up and he tells the guys, he goes, hey, you guys mind if I hang out with you for a little while? And they're like, yeah, it's cool, Bill. He ends up hanging out. He goes, well, let me buy you some beer. And they go, no, let us. And he goes, Bill Murray's response, I think it was from that film. He goes,
yeah,
it's okay. I've been saving up. I got it. So he ends up buying these guys beers, parties with them till like 3 a.m.
There's a band there.
Yes.
Cops come.
Yes. And I mean, ends up, and then one party that he showed up to, he kind of disappeared for a while. It was a dinner party that he just somehow ended up there. And they said, where did Bill Murray go? He was in the kitchen washing the dishes, so freaking cool. But now here's the thing about Scrooged. One, I just think it's funny because I'm like you. If Bill Murray's in there, and I have to say this before I get completely off. Lost in Translation is a terrific film. I love that movie. It is very good.
A lot of people don't get it.
They don't understand it. But you know what? I actually, one time when I was in Chengdu, China, I had a similar, there was no romance involved, but I met this Chinese national and we ended up communicating solely through Google Translate. And it was one of the best conversations that I had the whole trip. It was really kind of cool. So I digress. The thing that Bill Murray shows in Scrooged, as he shows in a lot of his films, that Chevy Chase never could pull off, as two contemporaries that had the famous, supposed fist fight and just kind of hated each other for years. The thing that Bill Murray shows that I don't think Chevy Chase was ever able to do was at the end of the movie, whenever he finally understands the meaning of Christmas, and it's like he gets kind of like the Grinch, his heart exposes itself and he's kind of tearing up at the end. He sells that, man. You're sitting there going, and he's like, and he goes, I want it every year. And I want to be selfish for it or greedy for it. And I can have it and you can have it. I mean, it's like, wow. It's like this really cool rallying cry for love and kindness. And this, if I can do it, if my heart can melt, so can yours. And it's not contrived. He sells it well. And then just some of the quick little, sarcastic lines that Frank Cross rattles off during that movie. That's one of my favorite consolations.
I agree. Very good. The Netflix show that everyone should watch is the Bill Murray stories, life lessons learned from a mythical man.
Yes.
And then also we've been to Chengdu as well. Did you go to Panda Sanctuary in Chengdu?
Absolutely, we did. I have no idea how they have survived as a species. I guess it shows why an entire country has to maintain ownership of all of them and protect them, because they are the fattest, laziest, cute as hell. They're so freaking cute. But yeah, we went to the Panda Sanctuary. Absolutely.
And what year were you there? I was there. We were there in 2003.
13, I believe it was.
Okay.
12,
it was, all of China was just so polluted, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. Chengdu was up there.
I was there I went to the Beijing Olympics, and that was the first time I ever even considered wearing a mask for outdoor for everything. And it was because if you remember during that time, they had the smog alerts and the dirty air and all the athletes were concerned. Yep. So, but the Panda Sanctuary is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, very cool.
All right.
Okay, we're still in consolation because we're about to hit number one, and I'm 99% sure it's the same. All right, so one is The Year Without Santa, featuring the Heat Miser. So another claymation, another one of those special coming on, a big event. Again, it's not a great show, and I think the Baby New Year is in it and all these different things. But the Heat Miser is fantastic. Then the other one is, and you could probably debate if this is really a Christmas movie, even though the title's selling it, is The Holiday. It's very
it's in ours.
cute.
It's in our holiday lineup. I'm glad you mentioned it. Yep, go for it.
So it's very, very cute. I think, the switcheroo and everything. It's a little bit hard sell for me for Jack Black and Kate Winslet. It's a little bit, suspension of disbelief is in question, but that storyline is all great. Even with Cameron Diaz's really, really bad acting, it is nice and cute. And that village actually is about 20 minutes from me, and I go hiking around there. Actually, I just took my parents probably 3 weeks ago to that pub that's in the movie. So it's from like 1300s. It's a traditional, right on the square, and it does feature most of that village, and it's fantastic. It's called Sheer. So if anyone comes over, it's like here, but with an S on the front, and it's right in Surrey. So it's about 20-minute drive for me. It's awesome. The whole Surrey Hills, and it's fantastic.
That is so cool. I know that Abby, she's going to be hitting me up to take her there because she wants that cottage is like her dream house. That's where Abby wants to live out her days.
So a couple of tidbits on that is that cottage, the facade they built so they could get this one view. I've hiked through there, and you can hike right by it, but it's not a real house. I think they just wanted the exact spot, but there's a lot of those chocolate box cottages all over the place there. And that church in that village obviously was part of that movie, but it was the first church for 4 weddings and a funeral.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So
beautiful little village.
So I'm glad that you brought it up so that it wasn't up to me to remember to bring up The Holiday, because that is one of the films. It usually comes either right before, actually it comes right before it goes take this back. The Holiday, because it's not so Christmassy. That's the one we start with. Then it goes Love Actually, then The Family Stone. That's kind of the order of things for the girls and I. Here's one of the reasons why we I know this is, Abby and I have discussed it since, but one of the reasons why I like The Holiday so much, it's a Nancy Meyers movie. Here's the style of Nancy Meyers, which Father the Bride, the girls and I watch Father the Bride, the Steve Martin remake, every single year on Father's Day, and Father the Bride 2, The Intern with Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. It's complicated. All Nancy Meyers movies. Look, everybody has to be a millionaire to live in a Nancy Meyers movie because they're in the most picturesque settings. The lighting is warm and perfect. You feel like you've just had a baby smile with a dash of unicorn dust. Whenever you watch a Nancy Meyers film, you're just gonna feel good. And The Holiday, it just reeks of Nancy Meyers warmth and just it's just so fun. And I love Jude Law's character in it. I think
he's good.
He's great. That's in recent years become one of our favorite movies. It wasn't like when it first came out, I probably didn't even see it for the first 2 years it was out, but now that is in our stable. We're going to watch The Holiday every single year. So very, very good.
And the little girls are really good because, I hear that little girl or the little boy and girl, mommy and daddy, I hear that every day.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite parts, and also having there's a line in there that's really special to. I could not have written this better to Jimlyn, my wife now, that is just an absolute gift from God. Whenever Jude Law, he basically, I'm paraphrasing, he says, "I come as a package deal. I know it's not perfect in the light of day, but I love you." Whenever, when I heard that, I told Jimlyn, I was like, I like to think I'm pretty in touch with my emotions. I write, I try to be a creator, but man, I could not have written that any better to you. And so that movie has become special for us. So excellent, excellent choice. I have 3 consolations in one. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen, 1 through 3. Those are they're not going to be on my favorite list, but so freaking entertaining. Love Tim Allen. I thought what could have been really corny and hokey, I thought they crushed it pretty well, and they made a franchise out of it.
Well, I think they're rated quite high, at least the first one, because I looked at different lists and just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But they're always rated, at least the first one is rated pretty high in top 20, 25 lists, up there in the, Miracle on 34th Street range, somewhere in there,
Yeah.
Cool.
And the thing that's cool about the Santa Claus and films like this, it's the kind of the cool thing about Christmas. You talked about Jack Black and Kate Winslet getting together, the suspension of belief. That's the cool thing about Christmas. I mean, the thing is, when you sit down with a script and you think a Christmas script like the Santa Claus or any of these others that we're mentioning, you're like, this will never sell to the cinema.
Well, Elf. It's just
that will never ever. Are you kidding me? But it does if done well. And people are willing. It's so cool. All right, so I think it's time to jump in. Eric Payton, if you're still on, here we go. I'm going to give us. Let's see. Let me share this with you. I'm not even going to mention it because I know that we got the same one. It's got to be the same. I mean, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, Zuzu's pedals, man. Zuzu's pedals.
There you go.
It's that 4th one. There you go.
All right.
But who are you? I told you, George, I'm your guardian angel.
What is it you want, Barry? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Welcome home, Mr. Bailey.
Sentimental hogwash. I wish I had a million. Mr. and Mrs. Martini, welcome home.
This is what I wished for.
You see, George, you really.
When I watch this, I hold back tears for different reasons almost for the entire film.
Uncle Billy, though. Uncle Billy makes me so mad.
I want to punch him in his freaking face.
Every time the bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, boy, Clarence. It's so good, man. I mean, when the brother comes back and, okay, and he says, the richest man in town, and they'd sing Old Lang Syne. And I mean, that Rudy and Rudy's cheesy movie and Field of Dreams at the end, Dad, you want to have a catch? I mean, those are just waterworks.
I could not agree more, man. There are so many lessons, and also just the fact that well, the cast. So you got Lionel Barrymore, who is
Drew Barrymore's grandfather.
Yeah, I mean, royalty, and then just the actual. And so Jimmy Stewart. This is something that not a lot of people know. Did you know? Much like Ted Williams, who arguably one of the top 3 greatest baseball players of all time.
The last one to hit 400.
Exactly. Yeah. Takes time off, goes fights World War II. So we don't know how good he could have been during those years. Comes back and picks up where he left off.
Yeah. And Ted Williams also went to Korea. Crazy enough.
God, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Jimmy Stewart also takes time off from acting. Is a legitimate war hero. They wanted to do what they did with Audie Murphy, a proud Texan, a Northeast Texan, by the way, from Greenville, Texas, the most decorated soldier of World War II. They wanted to make Jimmy Stewart, that is Audie Murphy, not Jimmy Stewart, but Jimmy Stewart was highly decorated war hero. They wanted to make a movie about Jimmy Stewart's life and his war heroism, like they did with To Hell and Back and Audie Murphy. Jimmy Stewart refused. He said, no, that's not why I did it. Not going to do it.
Which campaign was Jimmy Stewart? I don't really know the story. I need to look it up.
It was around 44, 45. And if I'm not mistaken, he flew bombers. He was a bomber pilot. Now check me out.
I knew he was a pilot, or at least in planes. I didn't know in what kind of role.
Yeah. And I don't know what part of it was, but he would not make a movie about his time in the service. And then, of course, and then Frank Capra, I like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. That's another Jimmy Stewart. I love anything Jimmy Stewart was in, but It's a Wonderful Life, because I don't know. I mean, I think every one of us at some point in our life, especially as husbands, wives, when you have children, whatever, I don't care. Just forget about the category. We all have those moments where we think, what the hell is this all for? It means there's no, and it usually revolves around this story. I don't have enough money to make things work out. And then when you have those epiphanies, which by God's grace, after 46 years, I've realized in my own life that there's so much more to life than creature comforts, material things, finances. You learn what really matters, friendships, relationships, and realizing that it's not all on you. There are people that are watching and care, and the good seeds you've sown can sprout up when you least expect it. There's just so many lessons. And so that for that reason, not only is It's a Wonderful Life my favorite Christmas movie, it is my favorite movie of all time.
Really?
It is my favorite. I mean, over Godfather, The Natural, Shawshank Redemption. I could name One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I mean, all the top ones, I kind of throw everything out the window and just go, nope, It's a Wonderful Life, as far as the moving me and just having an emotional impact beyond Christmas, because that's the thing. I don't really take the Christmas aspect of that movie away from it. Instead, it's just a life lesson of it that's with me when I get through watching that movie. Every single year, Christmas Eve, the girls and I sit down and watch It's a Wonderful Life. It's been a tradition. And they, bless their hearts, they can barely keep their eyes open. I don't think they've been awake through the whole thing for years, but they do it to satisfy Dad. So that's my commentary.
Well, it's I agree with all that. And I think, when he, Merry Christmas, your old building alone, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it hits you. And you could make a claim, is it really a Christmas movie as well? You could. Yeah. But I actually, I read a story leading up to this, is why it was played in a loop, really, on every channel.
Oh, yeah.
Starting sometime in the 70s, because they just basically gave the license away. Yeah. So none of the TVs, the 4 TV channels or 3 at the time, had to pay. So of course they're just gonna play it.
Yeah.
If they don't have to pay. So that's why it was on all the time. And then it was on during Christmas. And then of course there's Christmas at the end, and it does have that warm and fuzzy, of course. So that's why it was always played around Christmas.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's good.
Then NBC finally there for a while wrangled the rights, I think, because they were the only ones that could show up for a while. Now you see it more often. But it's funny you say that. So I remember as a kid, not knowing, my parents didn't, that wasn't a movie in our, stable of films around the holidays, but it was always on as a kid. And I can name, it's in, just off the top of my head thinking, it's in Christmas Vacation, it's in Gremlins, it's in both Home Alone.
Like in the back, or
in the background. It's just in the background. Okay. It's in Home Alone, both of them in two separate languages, once in French and one there in Florida, so it's in Spanish. What else? It's in it has appeared in, because it used to be just a part of the background noise of Christmas. Yeah. It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah. But I did not know that that's why it was on so many times, is because no one really had the rights. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I figured we were kind of be close with 1 and 2. And I do have one last consolation as well, which is, I don't think it's as widespread. I don't know if it's well known in the US, but it's Joy Noel.
No.
And it's a French-made movie. And it's really about the first year of World War I.
Oh.
And it has the German piece, and actually it's 2 actors from Inglourious Bastards in on the German side, and then it has a Scottish regiment and then a French regiment. Very, very well-known actors in all 3. And it's really probably more historical fiction about the first Christmas in World War I, where they had a ceasefire, and then they came together and they shared wine, they sang song, they played soccer. So it's well known. 1914 it was. It's fantastic.
So what? Is this it? Let's see.
A crusade.
Is this
to
it?
save the freedom of the world.
It was made in 2005. And World War I was just madness, complete madness.
I did him like a coward. I let him die.
Now we must pray for him and all the other casualties.
Seien Sie wachsam. Denen ist alles zuzutrauen, selbst an Heiligabend.
Yeah, he was in Glorious Bastards. That's a good.
Yeah.
Well, very cool.
We were talking about a ceasefire. I don't think anyone would criticize us for laying down our rifles on Christmas Eve. This is my wife. Oh. Merry Christmas.
Frohe Weihnachten. Very nice.
There's an old Paul McCartney song, music video that I bet is based on this, called the
It's over.
Pipes of Peace.
Any minute now, the Germans
There's a scene where like this, they come out between the battle lines and they play soccer and they go back. It has to be based on this historical.
Yeah.
Shame on you, Gordon. Shame on you.
It's, I wouldn't, is it a Christmas movie? It has the warm fuzzies was coming together, but then, it's I would say it's more of the madness of war, and things. So, but it's well worth the watch. You should watch it.
I definitely have to check that one out. And then the last consolation that I'm thinking of right here at the end, that I'm so glad I snuck it in. And the reason why you wouldn't have known this one, no one would, is because it was a made-for-TV movie, and that is the Patrick Stewart TNT version of A Christmas Carol.
Okay.
And that's special to...
Patrick Stewart is Dr. McDreamy? Is that guy?
No. Patrick Stewart, as in he was the X-Men guy, the bald guy.
Oh, okay. Oh no, he was in one of the Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Yep. Star Trek.
So he plays Scrooge, does it phenomenally well. He actually produced the film. And the reason why that one's so special, I think is because it came out my oldest daughter's first Christmas. And so I have been watching that every year around December 19th, which is when it always shows on TNT, since she was a little girl. But of all the Christmas carols out there, I do think it's well done. It is kind of made for TV-esque with some of the special effects and some of the scenes. And it's kind of funny because I guess if they were doing that at TNT, it's kind of like a real life version of what they were trying to pull off on Scrooged. They were basically making fun of that type of production, which is kind of random. But that's one of my consolations, that there's no way that anybody would have thought of that one since it's a made for TV, but it comes on every year on TNT. It's on Prime, and it is my favorite version of A Christmas Carol, but for more sentimental reasons than any other reason at all. So there we go.
Nice.
Dude, this was awesome. I think we crushed.
This was fun.
I hope that the audience, whenever they hear this, maybe we gave them some either a newfound appreciation for some movies they haven't seen in a while. Maybe they haven't seen any of them, and now they've got our take on it. So either way, dude, thanks for joining me, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It was a good time.
Absolutely. So I am going, and those of you on the live, feel free to DM me. I will include your favorites or any commentary you have if you disagree with Matt and I on anything that you've heard here today about our favorite movies. If you want to know where I got my Dickie, I'm not going to tell you because I'm just not going to do that. No, I'm just kidding. Amazon for like $12. But anyway, I'm out on the live. Thank you guys for joining us. Merry Christmas. All right. And so I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to stop the recording and say goodbye to you properly. Matt Wagner, Merry Christmas, brother. Merry Christmas to you, the Jason
Merry
Wright Show
Christmas,
audience.
man.
Thanks for listening. All right, man.